Wally glanced up at the row of 6 monitors mounted above the platform. In 3 of them, he saw himself sitting on the bench and could watch the train passing slowly behind him. At that moment, the train let loose with a piercing blast from its horn, and Wally's shoulders nearly came together behind his ears. I'd always kind of had a paranoid streak, but in 1998 there was a study conducted in the city, and the conclusion was that on any average given weekday, a normal New Yorker going about his or her business, just going to work, going to the bank, going to lunch, stopping by a grocery store, going home, would be filmed by about 20 separate surveillance cameras. You know, I don't like being filmed, period, but to be filmed by 20 different cameras was just something that I couldn't believe. There was something wrong with that. So I began toying with the idea then of a story about a man who decides to try and eradicate himself from public surveillance. And then the towers came down, and public surveillance just became a given. I mean, it went insane. With each passing year, month, day, things got crazier and crazier and crazier in this city. Armed guards searching bags, people being stopped on the street, people being turned in because they were suspected terrorists. I mean, the idea of a man or a character, a single figure, trying to strike back at a power much greater than himself is certainly as old as literature. So there's nothing really new in that. It's just as our times change and we look at, you know, the world around us becomes increasingly absurd. You know, just the ways in which such a character would go about things changes. I've always tried to write genre fiction. And in this case, I guess I was working with maybe 3 or 4 genres at once. But whenever I try to write genre fiction, it just always comes out black comedy for some reason. I could, I don't know, write about weddings and they'd be black comedies. Is like a novelized form of the Unabomber Manifesto, and I had no idea until I'm reading it now. Is that so many of the things that he talks about are ideas that made their way quite by accident into the book. Of course, he's being touted as a madman. Partly for, sending mail bombs to people, but I think at the time, the various media outlets had to call it rambling and incoherent in order to dissuade people from actually reading it, because it's such an attack on everything that they represent. Jesus, yes, that's enough, okay? I think we've had enough.